Okay, it's me here, in my emergency bunker. Listen, my name's Sam Steele. You may alternatively know me as Richie Shivers from the new film, Showtime 2.5, The Show Must Go Online. Listen, I only have a couple of minutes left. I have the last tin of beans in the world. The last tin of beans. Okay, so I pre-recorded something. I'm talking about the show. If they find me dead, play this at my funeral, please. It was very special, especially in 2020. There was a lot of good old hearty friendship that was put into this project. We were all just having a good time.
I think you only have to attend a Shine Like Stars performance to see that this is great use of young people's time. I mean, they really do learn phenomenal theatre really quickly.
Now and for always, sit by the firelight's glow, tell us at all.
I suppose lockdown for me was it wasn't really boring, I suppose. I was really busy before that. I was doing a lot and it felt like a very nice, very long break. We had to stop Treasure Island, which was a shame, but there came the challenges and the SLS Home Theatre, which I really enjoyed.
The challenges were a way for performers to connect with each other during lockdown. They got to see what each other made, and creatively they were utilising their skill sets. And the SLS Theatre at Home Streams was just a way for them to take their minds off what was happening. For a little while, they could just escape into a show. Coming out of lockdown, live events just weren't an option. And it didn't look like they would be an option for a very long time. Of course, one of the things with Shine Like Stars is we always look for challenges. Safely performing together, creating something that audiences would enjoy, that the cast could sink their teeth into. That just meant thinking as far outside of the box as possible.
I was surprised we were going to make a film and that it was going to be another Showtime. Because obviously it's a very fun concept.
It was actually Vicky who suggested returning to the Showtime universe. Yeah, in a time that was very strange, very surreal, we'd be going back into a world that was very familiar to all of us.
What project? You haven't told us about a project.
Well, maybe if you spent less time with the dolphins and more time with your friends here, we'd have got to that, Joey.
Why didn't you tell us about the project in the start before we did anything else?
Oh, that's rich coming from you, Aquaman.
Never mind that now, we're wasting time.
Everybody shuts up!
Right, thank you, Abby.
Richie, I mean, it's a very easy character to play.
Richie, I owe you everything.
You don't owe me anything.
If it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have gotten into Shakespeare.
Shakespeare was on the curriculum.
A lot of things were on the curriculum. Science, astronomy, but I don't want to be a doctor or an astronaut. I want to be an actor.
Richie and Joey's friendship is one of the heartbeats of the film, and it's heavily inspired by Sam and Dan's actual friendship. I remember them during a table read we did for scene 2. The way they bantered together just had the entire cast and crew in stitches. It's a very Bob Hope, Bing Crosby style of friendship. There's a lot of banter, there's a lot of heart.
My grandparents had a luxury resort here in Spain, but it's had to close because of the virus. So now it's just me and my family and my grandparents here, and we've got the whole place to ourselves.
We asked the cast in advance of rehearsal starting what they thought their characters would have been doing during lockdown. Daisy gave us pages of ideas. The whole theme of Abigail being in a different country, her always appearing in various costumes and locations, that was purely from Daisy. And it gave us so much to play with.
I'm trying to video call you, but it doesn't seem to be working. I can't see you. I don't think I have a good Wi-Fi signal. Why don't I have a good Wi-Fi signal?
Probably because you live in a cave.
I don't live in a cave.
Ellie?
What were you doing? I had to call you a dozen times before I could get through to you.
I was trying to call Richie. Why are you calling me? Why
You
don't
have
you...
to get ready for the audition.
The mystery of where Eleanor is during the film, that was something that Hannah just made so much fun, because we could put her in these locations and get her to play all of the small subtleties of the scene, and she does that so well. Every time we recorded and filmed the Zoom call in scene 4, I was always just amazed watching them perform it. It's a scene that holds so much fun, but also a lot of subtlety, and for two such young actors, they just nailed it every time.
Actors, friends.
Us.
Why is there a gigantic picture of you on the wall?
They're doing a retrospective on my life.
You're 12, you haven't had a life.
The BBC would beg to differ.
Jake's a very calm and chilled out person, and giving him a character that's at the Everest of self-confidence is just so much fun to watch.
What, you stole my agent?
I didn't steal anybody. She called me.
Hi everyone.
What are you doing in the pouring rain?
I remember suggesting the idea of someone being in a garden, and Matthew just jumped on it. Between him and the cast, they had all these ideas of him then being in a tent, and that he was refusing to go inside because of his sister being home, and how the two of them just didn't get along. How being outdoors might lead to having a bad Wi-Fi signal. It meant that we ended up being able to use a lot of special effects with Matthew, and he was amazing. He threw himself into it with gusto.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Creeps in this petty pace from day to day. This is why you don't tempt fate by naming the Scottish play.
And you shouldn't live in a garden if you want good Wi-Fi.
The filming was quite weird. In the sort of the way that we did it was that we would have a massive stand which had a ring light on it, which would just sort of shine on us for a good two sort of hour and a half. I mean, not constantly. We would get up and, you know, we were allowed to go places, but you know, we were mainly just in front of a light. And it really starts to take effect when you look away and you just sort of have rings.
Oh, that's why I'm living in a cave, so the neighbours won't complain.
Sadly, my grandparents didn't have any bagpipes. This was the next best thing. That doesn't look anything like the bagpipes.
Socially distancing in rehearsals. I don't think it changed much. I don't think that staying 2 meters apart from people can change your attitude to acting. It is weird, but I think we get used to it. We adapt easily.
Before we even knew that the film was going to be set in the Showtime universe, we knew that it had to take place in a Zoom-like medium. Whatever we did had to be adaptable, whether we were in a studio or in our own homes. Every cast member had their own set.
I suppose it was quite clever because I think the way that it is filmed means that we can film it from home, and I thought that was always quite a clever thing.
When lockdown was announced at the beginning of November, there was no break for us. Cast members received an email that basically said, we're going to send you guys some equipment. From then, it was down to the cast. For the entirety of November, they recreated the sets in their own homes, so that each week we would join up on Zoom and film everything literally on Zoom. I did think there was going to be a lot of issues, and it wowed me so much how professional they were. I don't know adults who could do as well as they did.
Yeah, I was shocked, really. Not in a bad way, but I was just sort of shocked that it could happen, and we did make it happen. It's all quite scary, new, but as I said, we adapted, and by the fourth week, it felt a bit natural.
What really most impresses me about Shining Like Stars is this, kind of magic camaraderie, a really wholesome thing that just comes out of nowhere and permeates these kids' lives. I mean, I've seen kids come to Shining Like Stars over the years who didn't know anybody else who attended and didn't even have a particular interest in theatre. And yet at the end of a single term, when they're putting on their first performance, you'd swear they'd been best friends with everybody there for the whole of their lives. They just treat each other with enormous respect. They really do bounce off each other in such a wonderful, wholesome way. I just think that's really rare among youth groups. I mean, I've worked with young people in a number of ways for over 2 decades, and I just think Shining Like Stars is this 1 in a million magic going on.
Sorry, Jenny, Miriam's here.
Already? Put her on, please.
Hello? Am I in? There we go.
I've only just arrived ahead of you.
We filmed the actors in the same room. So in most scenes, we had 6 cameras rolling at the same time. Scene 3 was the hardest. We had 8 cameras and certain ones had effects on them. Hannah had a fire, Matthew and Steph were glitching. Matthew was also in the rain, and the rain had to stop by the end of it, so I had to work out how the rain would let up over the course of his scene. And you can see here, this is just the edits from scene 1.
People may live on, but traditions and ideas, no.
My favourite moments are definitely the moments where we messed up. Because I feel like that's the funniest bit for us. We became hysterical pretty quickly, the cast and the crew. I enjoyed the last session the most. We filmed a lot in that sort of 3 hours. It was very intense. We were all very tired, but we were all just having a good time. It was the best rehearsal we did. But it was just sort of a bittersweet farewell. Sort of all came together. We filmed this 7-page scene and we filmed that. It was all quite chaotic. And at one point, I was given sort of like a half-page monologue. I had to learn that in about 5 minutes. I didn't get it right the first time, and we had a lot of fun from that.
We'll definitely have to put this in our lockdown story.
Yes, but how? Will I have to go back to Spain? Will Joey and Eleanor have to go back to the Caribbean?
No, of course not. We're vacant. We may as well start, as we need to go on.
The ending just solidifies what they did as being our reality. The point of Showtime 2.5 was to give people hope and encouragement and to show them that in the midst of everything we're going through, we can still find ways of bringing people inspiration and bringing people encouragement and bringing people joy and, if nothing else, a distraction for a short amount of time.
There's all sorts of shenanigans that go on behind the scenes by these talented leaders to give an opportunity for each and every individual kid who attends to shine like the star they are, to show their talents to a watching audience. That is phenomenal. What an opportunity for these young people, especially in the present circumstance the world is in. You know, everything is closed down in this pandemic, and Shine Like Stars has found a way to keep going, to keep helping these kids to do childhood really well. It's awesome.
I don't really like holidays or sort of relaxing and not doing much. I constantly need something to do, and Showtime 2.5 just filled that hole perfectly. It was great.